Hey guys, Thomas the Sulu Genie here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review the movie Shazam, Fury of the Gods. If you end up enjoying this full movie review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second and third to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly. And fourth to my Discord server, where you can join, collab, and shill your own content for free. And shilling will be reminded at to the end of the review. With all that out of the way, let's get into Shazam, Fury of the Gods. So, I knew that this movie was coming out eventually, but I didn't actually see any trailers for it, or at least I don't remember any trailers for it off the top of my head. So, I don't know, it didn't seem that memorable heading in, I guess, if I did see it. So that should probably be the first indicator of things going a little bit, suspicious. At any rate, this is going to be a spoiler review, I guess. It's bad. But we'll get into the details and be as objective as possible here, regardless. So the movie starts out at a museum, and as this curator is talking about this two-ended staff that we see at the end of the first Shazam movie, that apparently was just picked up and brought here, is then essentially the invite for two of the three gods that are going to be present in this movie. Calypso and Hespera, I believe their names are. Hespera being the older of the two, at least in appearance, and Calypso being the vengeful one, based on action. And so the two get there and they take the staff, reunite it, and Calypso, the vengeful one, proceeds to turn everyone into stone, including, and not limited to, killing one of the people there by shattering the stone that they were carved from. So, you know, I suppose the title is living up to its expectations, at least through actions so far. That is definitely something that I would suspect someone of Fury to do. However, the acting does not seem to follow suit, though, in that regard. Unfortunately, seems like someone just trying to pick up a paycheck, regardless. So, they both start spreading this, I guess, spell that makes people angry and charge at each other as well. So, I'm a little bit confused as to Hespera's actions here, as later on we will see her go against Calypso, and it doesn't feel like the movie arcs her that way completely. So it comes across as very jarring, is a good word to put it. And so we finally cut to Shazam, who is seeing what he assumes is a psychiatrist, but he's like a pediatrician or whatever the joke is supposed to be, and he is suddenly comparing himself and lowering himself to other superheroes, and lo and behold, the one superhero they don't mention is Superman, because I don't know what the behind-the-scenes scoop of this whole ordeal with Henry Cavill is, but apparently they're so upset with him that they couldn't even title drop Superman in the movie. It's like, damn, what? Like, seriously, like, I don't know what's going on. here, but yeah, it definitely is a weird vibe. Anyway, so he goes on to essentially recap the first movie, and again, I'm assuming this is supposed to be played for laughs, I think. But then we cut to him playing some video games, and we see the rest of the Foster family is doing A-OK. But we have to have our mini arc for Shazam, as Billy still refers to Rosa as Rosa and not his mom, because he's adopted. And thus, when they learn of a potential crime or something bad happening, the kids head out all outside together and all say Shazam, and it's not revealed until later on into the movie to their family that they are indeed those heroes, even though the movie proceeds to continuously drop all the hints in the world that this is them, but whatever. We cut to a bridge collapsing. Pretty typical superhero scenario. And our little squad arrives on the scene. And they do save all the people, but the bridge does collapse, so they still get blamed and called like the Menace Group or whatever they're called here. So, while they were all being messy and Shazam is trying to, Billy, that being Billy in this case, trying to collect them all together and say and go over how they could have potentially done this any better. Everyone's pretty much like trying to do their own thing. Mary is trying to go off to college, which is her whole deal and doesn't go anywhere. We have the youngest of the siblings who's into animals, and that's her whole deal. We have, I believe it's, I don't remember his name in my notes, but there's one that particularly looks into the rest of the hideout, and that's his whole shtick, and that's it. That's all he gets. There is Pedro, who is gay, and that's his whole shtick. And then there is, I believe that's all of them. So yeah, I think this poster is pretty apt, where the group of the rest of the superhero family is minimized in the poster, because boy does that show. Oh, and there's Freddy, who gets like the most of them, but still like a singular thing, but he's shown just the most of them, is what I'm trying to say. Anywho, so Mary talks with Billy about needing to grow up. And we then cut back to our two gods, who move towards the wizard, who is alive, I guess. And he is forced to say Shazam through the same methods of being told a word and of submitting into whatever torture thing this is. Spell this is. But he manages to nick the staff with his pulling at it. We then cut to Freddy, who again, as I mentioned, gets the most of a singular side story. You see, he has a crush on the new student, Anne, who I'm just going to save you a whole lot of time. She is the third of the three gods. And yes, she, in this movie, likes him too. keep in mind that this god is apparently like 6,000 or however old they literally say in the movie, falling in love with a child. What is with the DCEU and like creepy shit? I'm so confused. Why would they? Who writes this? I'm sorry, like, why? Why would you do that? I mean, there's so much you can do with this sort of shtick if that's what you wanted to go with, a love story. Here, I'll fix it for you. She's just a new god. How about that for a crazy twist of events? She looks like the youngest, so she should be the youngest. And her whole character arc, or mini arc, or whatever you want to call it, is learning how to use her powers. And then her still falling in love, if that's the thing you want to keep. Like, there's a way to do this and not have it be creepy as fuck. But no, we're here, where, again, a 6,000-year-old god falls in love with a boy. So yeah, that's, yikes. Anyway, so, the wizard, then, we cut back to him, cast a spell on the little shard that he pulls out of his skin, which is weird that they show this whole bit. And he wants to know who broke the staff, even though I think this would have been funnier if he just knew, honestly. That would have saved us a whole lot of trouble. Instead, we get what is even more bizarre than that. We have Shazam dreaming of Wonder Woman, who is out of frame on the head down, and then when she is turned to face Shazam, the head turns into the wizard's head, and stays that way throughout the entire scene of this explanation of being mad. It's like, and explaining that the world is in danger. It's like, what? So yeah, it's not like he could have just appeared in whole, I don't know. Or again, have just known, and then again, then appeared as whole, but no, this... I guess this is trying to be funny too. So the wizard warns Shazam here. So he wakes from his dream now turned nightmare. All the while we see Freddy, cut back to him, as I was mentioning earlier, and he goes on a little saving heist, but it doesn't go quite up to code. And it immediately cuts to him with Anne again, as they're doing their little flirt scene or among them. But Billy grabs Freddy and among the first to be like, hey, we have some serious shit to look into. So they reunite with the rest of the family, and we get to our exposition portion of the film where they go to the location where none of them knew was in this cave, which has a pen that can write answers to any question. Yes, that is the explanation that they give in the movie, so here we are. So, while that's going on, Freddy isn't with them because he's on a little play date with Anne. And the family is still doing their research about where their name comes from and all the gods that are associated with the name Shazam, because that's actually the lore, the actual lore. So I will give the movie some credit. At least it did that little amount of legwork. I mean, it's not a lot, but I mean, it's something, I guess. So Billy admits that he's the one that broke the staff to the rest of his family at this point. As we then cut back to, because we're cutting back and forth between these two groups, Anne reveals that she is one of the three gods as the other two arrive near Freddy, and Freddy is shot and loses his power because he's so distracted by the power of love that he is unable to fly fast enough away to avoid getting his powers zapped away. And now that we know that one of the gods, Calypso, can do that, well, she could just go after the rest of them and simply zap all of them with the same exact spell. Right? Well, here we are. So, as we learn here, Anne has the ability to move objects all the way up to entire buildings. Yeah, because that isn't cause for concern. As she's able to place herself elsewhere, and all these other buildings elsewhere, and where I'm assuming all of these people would have to readjust and lose their power and all of this other crazy stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, okay? Anyway, this is where we get our little bigger argument between Calypso, the angered one, and Aspera, the one that's suddenly, I guess, trying to be like, even though at the beginning of the movie is now all of a sudden like, maybe we shouldn't tackle humans and all of this. And in the process of doing this, speaking of Calypso's fury, a teacher interferes on the rooftops where they are, and she proceeds to whisper to him, and he proceeds to walk towards the edge of the roof, and you think that he's gonna get saved? No! He ends up splatting to the ground, which is their second death by the god's hands. Then Shazam arrives. And again, potential to get zapped, but he's being more so blocked by Anne moving buildings in the way, as I was describing earlier. And they manage to manages not to be so successful as Freddy is pulled away by the three gods. So Freddy is moved to where the wizard is currently located in this little prison. So the rest of the family is trying to send a letter, full well knowing that, again, the pen is writing everything that they're saying, and then it ends up being read out as a whole bunch of, at least initially, being serious and then turning into a complete joke pretty fast. Meanwhile, Freddy is cursed with the thing that enrages people or fears people, or whatever, whichever one it is, and we see that he is able to resist, even though he's a human at this point, which is important, I guess. I don't understand how he's capable of doing this. Again, he lost his powers, but he's still capable of doing it, so he's able to resist a lot longer, but he still manages to spell out the name of his family. So the two of them, the Freddy and Wizard, are tossed into the pit. And a creature is in there with them. But Anne, surprise, surprise, because of the whole love thing, helps them out, you see, because that's what love does. Ain't that neat? All the while, we cut to Shazam, who's having himself a little meal, and Aspera appears to talk about their bargain. And during this little sequence, after his family gets there late, Pedro is then zapped away from his powers, but none of the other ones are, because they all forget that they have all the powers, so forget about it. Shazam is knocked around a bit here, but he's able to fight back some and knock out Aspera. and to tie her up. Or, well, she's tying up the two, Mary and, the youngest sister, whose name I don't remember off. I honestly don't even remember her name. But apparently she got caught on purpose because of this new MacGuffin that is now being introduced to this apple that she takes from their lair. She wipes away the dust and reveals that it is a golden apple. And apparently this is like a golden apple seed thing. Why it's there? No. And Freddy and the Wizard are the two who first see this, with her returning with the golden apple using this door, to head back from their lair to her lair in one door. So, you know, I'm guessing she couldn't have done it the other way, is what I'm trying to think here. Anyway, Shazam and his family follow the smell because they went into a porta potty, a portable restroom anyway, to get back to portal back, so they have the smell of her. And again, we see that Calypso wants to destroy the rest of their world here. All the while, Shazam arrives on the scene, and I'm not even sure how this happens, and I really don't want to watch the movie again because it's shit, but Freddy somehow gets his powers back. Like, I don't know when he gets zapped here. I wasn't paying enough attention, but he just does at some point here. So the dragon is unleashed. The one in the pit. So they all flee from this area back through the door portal thing, and they all go to their house, and they're all still in their powers form. So they all arrive to their parents, who see all these superheroes, and they have to one or all at the same time pretty much say that they are superheroes, and they admit as such. However, we gotta get our one off-kilter moment of Pedro admitting that he's gay, and everybody knows it. And that was his whole deal. So, you know, DC is as shit as writing gay characters as Disney Marvel is. So, you know, that's good to know. Which isn't all that surprising that, you know, that's the case. But in the process of after that happening, two more of them get blasted away from having their powers. So now they're kids as well. And a third gets blasted, so now the only two that apparently, I think, have their powers are Shazam and Freddy, I think. Or unless he gets zapped again, that's right. He does get zapped again. But Mary flies away with the apple in hand. But she's zapped out of the air. So Shazam obviously goes to save her. But now Calypso, the angered one, saves the apple and now has it for herself. And now Billy is the only one left, that being the main Shazam, to stop them from, mainly Calypso, from completing her plan. She places her apple into the ground, and it starts to spread, and through the seedling, these egg cocoon thingamajigs are all around the world, and they start popping off, or they're at least around New York, or wherever this is in the movie. And the first of the creatures we see is a chimera, I believe. I think that's what this thing is called. I could be wrong. It's the lion with the scorpion tail. I think that's a chimera, or a type of chimera, I should say. We see, I think the second one with the wings is a wyvern, I think? I'm not too familiar with my creature mythic lore. And a cyclops. So all this while, Anne gets to the family. And apparently, Aspera is the only one who can stop this, or, whatever. So, Anne, in this moment of reuniting with the family, she does her romantic thing and kisses Freddy. Ugh. Again, falling in love with a kid. Again, I'm not sure why they had to write it that way. And Shazam admits to the wizard that he feels like he can't do this, that this burden is overburdened to him, but the wizard says that he did indeed choose correctly. And little mini arc for Shazam is complete as he goes back to his other form, his kid form, and tells his mom that that's his mom now, Rosa. But we cut back to the gods, and Hespera is abruptly stabbed in the back by the dragon, and Calypso is fine just watching, and Anne is there, too. I think. Oh no, she's with the family. So yeah. Anyway. So, actually, no, she is there, because she ends up running away from Calypso using her powers, but she remains still after using her powers, so she's blasted away from her powers. Anyway. So, again, that scene in particular probably would have made a lot more sense if it was as I described. If this was a new god learning how to use their powers, and again, it would have been a lot more clear if this was like one of the first times she officially uses her powers to a great enough effect. But it's still not quite enough. You see how easy this is to fix? Well, I mean, at least that portion of the film, anyway. It's not that hard. These people gotta learn how to write, you guys. Learn how to write, please. Watch my videos. And watch them in full. You'll learn something, maybe. Anyway. So, the family, that is just a family now, uses their car to run over one creature. And the youngest, being an animal lover, is like, and they learn about from the wizard that there is a unicorn, which is like the top of the creatures, apparently. And then they attempt to do a Skittle ad, like, actually in the movie. All the while, Anne suddenly joins, like, these group of humans, and Freddy sees her, so now he's running to her, or hobbling on his cane there. All the while, Shazam's getting knocked around a bit. And he notices when he's trying to blast Calypso that the staff is absorbing his powers, but not taking them completely like a battery. All the while, we cut back to the rest of the family that gets to the unicorns and, again, uses the Skittles to tame them. And they get themselves a new ride with the unicorns. So now we cut back to the dragon, who's apparently just in a different location messing with people now, all of a sudden. I don't know why. And is getting them to flee. But Freddy and Anne are among these people. And Anne is struck with the dragon, because this dragon's like a fear dragon specifically, and surprise, surprise, Freddy once again has the ability to at least get to her while still being affected by this fear thing. And again, he once again does not have his powers here, so I don't know. Don't ask me, I don't know what the hell they're trying to say there again. But once again, Shazam gets to the two of them, and Shazam tricks Calypso into getting the staff. Therefore, Aspira minimizes the seal to a significantly smaller dome, and the only individuals inside it now, based on the location, are Shazam, the dragon, and Calypso. So he tells his family that he's going to see this through, Shazam is, as they're on opposite sides of this force field. So he faces off with the dragon and is powering up the staff all along the way. So Shazam charges into the dragon, saying his namesake while doing so, which I don't know if that was even necessary to do, but okay. So the dragon is dead, and we see his spirit fade as well, and so too does Calypso. So all three of them fade, but Anne gets to live, because she already lost her powers, I guess, yeah. But in the process of this charge, Billy dies. So we cut away to his gravesite, where the family is mourning his death, and they're really curious as to see if the staff can bring him back. But the wizard claims that they need the power of a god to do so, and he claims that apparently there are just no more gods, that they were the only ones. But Wonder Woman says, as she literally arrives on the scene, and the actual Wonder Woman this time, arrives on the scene and says that she has the power of a god, I guess. I don't know. And indeed, she brings life back into the whole area, including Shazam, and all simultaneously, and gets her powers back. And so too, as the family reunite home with Billy in tow, Anne is just with them now, chillin'. The wizard has a new look and is on Earth, chillin' now. And everyone's all fine and dandy. How about that? And that was Shazam, the Fury of the Gods. Boy, oh boy, does this movie just... I feel like, and the crazy thing is, I feel like this could have worked. But it feels like they shrunk two movies into one movie. And not only did they do that, but it feels like half of the movie with the whole villain portion of it is just either too bizarrely written, as in the youngest god, or too poorly acted, as in Calypso and the other one, Aspira. And the family just really doesn't get any form of proper development outside of really basic bitch stuff. So yeah, that's not great. And so yeah, in terms of a score, I don't know, I feel like this is either a 1 or a 2 out of 10. Like, this is not good. This is terrible. Just the cutout of these characters rather than characters. It's just so poorly done, and it feels like, again, this could have easily been avoided by having a two-part movie, or like having two movies, one to essentially build up the family, and then which should have been the second movie instead, and then have this movie be like the third installment or whatever. Or the other way around. It doesn't matter which way you actually do it. It could be that here they are forming and sort of gathering their abilities and whatnot. And then their third movie could be like, again, but they would have needed more time to develop, so it's like, I'm not sure which way it would go. Preferably, probably the former, the first of the two options, honestly. And again, just some weird choices, like the whole love story here is just, no. Regardless of which one you're talking about, because Shazam also has a crush on Wonder Woman. It's like, what are you doing, movie? What are you doing? But Freddy actually gets the goddess girl, so that one's actually creepier. And again, you could easily fix that. Easily. Again, I don't know what they were thinking. Again, new god. Literally just have that be the case. I don't know why that seems so implausible. It's like, yeah, just say it. Just say it and claim it. And then people will buy it. And then, again, just have her struggle with her powers a little bit more. That's all you needed to do to make that whole bit like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's Shazam! Fear of the Gods. Not good. In fact, terrible. And that's my full review of it. So if you ended up enjoying that full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second and third to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel. And fourth to my Discord server, where you can join, and do your own content shelling stuff for free. And until next time, everybody, bye-bye.